Hello, this is IP Stories by 4IP Council, the podcast about innovation and intellectual property. Join us and you will hear about the journeys through invention, creation, and IP understanding of our guests.
I'm Marta, and today we are happy to welcome to our podcast Álvaro Sáez, serial entrepreneur and strategic consultant in AI. Álvaro, thank you so much for joining us at IP Stories.
Thank you too for the opportunity to show what's our story and what we are building.
So, I think for those of our listeners that don't know exactly who you are or what you are doing, it would be great to start with your story. So I would like you to tell me what led you to found Hechiceria and how did your interest in AI, gaming, and creative technologies come together?
So yeah, the interest on AI and robotics uh, began when I was a child. But the story of Hachisaria started when I was finishing my studies in the university in Elche. The thing is, I was attending an entrepreneurial event in which people was going onto a stage and presenting some ideas of how they would creating a company. And at that time, I was like in my mind were a lot of things about how I could make my own story, professional story, right? I was not maybe prepared to work for others, and the thing is, I wanted to test myself in a personal project, right? So I was studying AI at that time. I was interested in that since I was a child on how to create robotics automation, how to automate the work, and at that time it, it was beginning like the first steps of AI as in the studies, right? In different courses, master degrees, and I was
Mhm.
beginning the studies because I was interested in that. And the thing is, I realized because I have a brother that at that time making the bachelor, and he was studying history, right? And at that time the young people were going to YouTube, for example, to get different videos to complement their studies of history, for example. And but a lot of times you were not able to get the content that you were looking for, right? So at that time I knew that the AI, the generative AI, was able to create images to show the different scenes to people, and I thought that could be possible to do the same for video, right? To create your own videos to understand better the text that you were studying, for example. And this was the origin, the inception of the idea of Hechisaria, like a tool with AI to create videos for students to complement their studies of history, for example, or any descriptive content. And from
Mm.
that, it was pivoting to other a purely more artificial production approach, right? This is the current one.
Okay, I mean, I love the idea in origin already. I mean, I understand that then you guys started to look for other niches, but I really
Mhm.
like the idea that it started as a project to help people study something like history because I think that could have
Mhm.
helped me a lot. Um, so I think this is quite an interesting mix. So Hechiceria, as you just mentioned, combines AI, but you also talked about how it has pivoted, and I think it's about like video games and virtual reality, and it's a very fascinating mix. So it would be great if maybe you could describe nowadays what your company does
Mhm.
and what kind of creative experience you are trying to offer users, and also, like, how do you differentiate? It's like loads of questions, I'm sorry. But
Nice.
also, like, how do you differentiate yourself from other companies?
Yeah, that's a good question. In fact, when we started the idea to implement the idea, we realized that we didn't have like tools or technology enough to create this approach to make the videos through AI. So the easiest thing for us was, instead of using the same architectures for image creation, we were taking the video games, creating natural language processing models to understand the text, the history text from history books, to obtain the characters, the actions, the environments in which everything was set, and placing everything into a video game engine, right? We started in a easy video game engine that is Unity, but we were pivoting to, for example, to Unreal Engine. This a more powerful graphically video game engine. And the thing is that we understand the text, we create and render everything in Unreal, and we can reproduce, we can play the scene into Unreal, right? So our value proposition for the people, um, that's different from the other video models, AI video models now, is that inside the video game engine, you're able to flexibly control the camera, control the how you see the scene inside the 3D environment, how you control the movement or the place of every character or every object, and this is something that you cannot do with another models, right? So all this flexibility, all this control, all this immersive experience is our value proposition in comparison with the competition, and is the main differentiation now from the others.
Okay, that's amazing. I think it would be great to include like a demo or something when we publish the podcast, because I think like
Absolutely.
that also people can see exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Um, so apart from Hechiceria, you're also the co-founder of Metis, Metis AI, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
Shintech.
Yep.
If I say any of these names wrong, please correct me.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So could you briefly also tell us about these other companies, what
Sure.
they focus on, and how each one explores sort of like a different side of technology and creativity as well?
Absolutely. Briefly, Shintech is a company in which we've been focusing on the development of a model that, from labels of text, you were able to train easily and fast a artificial vision model. And you didn't need you usually need like a hard time to collect a data set and train the AI with that. It normally takes maybe, I know, weeks, even months, if the task is so specific. But we train a model that just with several the text labels that you need to detect with the model. For example, you want to detect oranges, or I know, or behavior tasks from people in a supermarket, for example, to predict thefts or anything. You can establish these labels, this text task that you want to detect, and easily in few time, so less from the competition, you can get your trained model and deploy it. This is the main advantage. And in Metis AI, what we're doing is applying this artificial vision technology that we developed, and we go deeply into this artificial vision field to predict and to understand the behavior of the drivers. And what we're doing is we're setting cameras in the cars to see the outside and this side of the car, and to understand how is the behavior, the actions that the driver is taking, the emotions that the driver yeah, is feeling, and with all that we can predict the different actions that maybe the driver is able to make, right? And this is some information so interesting, for example, for driving schools, to make scores for the students, or even for insurance, for fleets, to know which is the best driver for any to get from this point A to this point B, and you are transporting anything, which is the best driver, right? So all this information about the behavior of the driver is what we are accomplishing with our technology, and the main value proposition that we are certificating the quality of these drivers for a lot of sectors.
And could you explain, like, how does the technology identify the mood of the driver? Because that's something so, I don't know, like it seems complicated.
Absolutely. The thing is that if you mean, for example, emotions, face
Mhm.
emotions, for example, we got models that are able to recognize different key points in the face, or even if you want to focus on your body, different key points that are providing us information about your position of different configurations of your face or configurations of your body, right? So we can establish different connections between the configurations of these key points to different outputs, like different outputs of
Mhm.
emotions or actions that you're creating, you're making. So basically, we are using these models with these predictors to obtain insights about if you're feeling with in a specific mood or not, or another one, right? And after with this information, we can, well, our clients can make decisions about it.
That sounds really interesting. Okay, next question, because we don't have a lot of time. So, um, so something that I was wondering is, because with all these different businesses, you're blending sort of like different technologies, and I guess that also means like dealing with very different kinds of IP and also data challenges, because I mean, like, face recognition, that's probably loads of data that you need to compile. So how do you manage aspects like copyright and privacy and data rights and all these different things all at once?
Yeah, this is an interesting topic because, um, as you were saying, different companies has like one company has like a strategy, another one has another one. So, for example, in Hedges area for Gen AI, for example, for protecting our technology, and we don't have hardware at all. What we are doing, for example, to protect is making everything around trade secrets with our employees and the co-founders, and for sure in this audiovisual sector, copyright is like dark topic that's not so it's not a topic that a lot of people is facing because of the fear of the industry. But the thing is that a lot of audiovisual production companies that are dealing with AI don't want to use models or are trained with copyright content, right? Copyright images, copyrighted videos, 3D models, etc. Right. So our main strategy since the beginning was to train or use models that were trained with free copyright. For example, we go through the asset store from Epic Games that's full of 3D resources with no copyright, and we're training and using everything from that. This is from the Gen AI perspective. From the artificial vision perspective, it is true that we can, if we have hardware involved in the solution, we can go through another kind of protection, right? For example, we've been working and dealing with patents and like design some kind of models that could be embedded in cameras and protecting it
Mm.
as patents, right? And about the copyright of the or even the how we manage the data. That maybe this is a more interesting topic here. obviously all about biometrics is so how to say um sensitive, maybe, uh from the
Mm.
user's perspective, right? Anyone wants anyone wants to have the data by others, right? So what we're doing is, for example, making diffuse the face of the people after the recognition of the emotions, and we are just taking this information for the inference of the models, but the rest of the time is not, we're not keeping any biometric data from the user, and everything
Mhm.
is secure by our side.
Okay, okay. I mean, yeah, it sounds
Lots
really
of information.
complicated. But yeah, I have so many more questions. So I would like to talk more about copyright actually, because as you mentioned, this is a very hot topic.
Mhm.
So you just said how like in your work you use and generate assets and like images and videos and even code as you were also talking about. So um how do you ensure these creations respect copyright rules while still fostering creativity and flexibility for the final user?
Yeah, in fact, we're trusting the providers of this, because we can create our content to train with it, with it, like our networks, but obviously we don't have a big team to do it. So what we're doing is taking content from providers, and the thing is that we need to trust, we need to trust the providers to do it, right? So obviously we trust the people that we know, that obviously we can trust, right? For example, Epic Games has a lot of concerns about the copyright of their creators, because they have a huge like market, or a huge network of different creative people that are making content, and uploading into their store. So they're not gonna make any decision to put in risk the copyrights of their content creators, right? So they are also providing as a free copyright content, the content that for sure they know that it's free copyright, right? So our main certification for three parties about the content we're taking for our networks is the main providers that we got are big partners known from by anyone, and with high concern about copyright.
Now, from a business and innovation point of view, how important, this is kind of like overall, how important is IP protection for a business like Hechiceria?
The thing is, obviously, is a main point, because it's a main point for any kind of business, but obviously in this kind of digital new businesses, new startups, maybe the main thing is your innovation, your IP protection is a key. It's true that I gotta say, you need to choose, um you need to choose very very well your strategy, because not every strategy is going to be the best for you. But for example, we think that for software protection, maybe patent, to get to go through a patent, that maybe it's complicated. But for example, a trade secrets for us is the main strategy, the thing that we've been going through. But for
Mhm.
example, apart from the IP protection, we think that it's interesting to have this like philosophy, this mentality of continue innovating, because
Mhm.
sometimes what happens is that if you protect any technology, you like get a little bit stuck on this point, because you
Mhm.
feel like comfortable with the fact that you are protected, and maybe you forget a little bit that you need to keep going through the next step, Because the thing is that, okay, maybe you go through a patent, you go you maybe you protect by trade secrets, but the thing is that you only protect a way to create this thing. But in the world, there's a lot of people, a lot of smart people that knows a lot of different ways to go through the same approach of you, or even different approaches, but the same result, or so similar. And the thing is that the client is not concerned about the approach. This is something that you only concerned about. The customer is only concerned about the results. This is the most important thing. So the protection is a key, because um, maybe you've been working in a specific way that maybe is the easiest way to go through the results, but there's another ways to go to that result. So you need to protect yourself, but continue, keep going to be innovative, and to keep your competitive advantage.
Okay, I think that's really good advice. And many founders say that IP decisions influence their product design. I don't know if this is something that has ever happened to you. You know that if there has been a moment where your IP or the data privacy strategy actually kind of shaped how you build a feature, or maybe you decided to go for a partnership.
Yeah, the thing is that obviously, if you, for example, you just can use free copyrights, or yeah, free copyright data, or even if you just can protect your technology in a specific way. I'm not gonna obviously give details about it, about our technology, but what we can tell is that it is like fitting obviously the way in which you're creating your pipeline, the different tools that you're creating, because this tool maybe is the easiest for you, but it is not free copyrights, or even you cannot protect this part of the pipeline, and even you need to change and to go through another one that in terms of protection is more innovative, and it is easier to protect. This is something that happens every time, and you need to the most important thing is to be well advised in terms of legal protection, and well advised in terms of technology development, right? And these things uh, have to be well linked by you mainly, because
Mhm.
you're the main manager, right? But obviously you need to get the talent to be innovative in terms of development, development, and gets a legal team that obviously knows the regulation, not even here, but also if you want to protect overseas in the US, or even I know Asia. It
Mhm.
is going so fast outside of here, so you need most of the times to be so innovative. So you need to be well you need to go with the right people, with the most innovative that
Mhm.
you can find right there.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be well advised, no, by
Mhm.
the people around you.
Yeah.
Um, and now let's talk about investors, because building a startup around emerging tech can be tricky. We might have other entrepreneurs listening, and I think one key point about intellectual property is that many investors might be
Mm.
happy to hear that you have protected some of your innovation or all of it, or like, is this something that was like a key point for you when you were negotiating with investors?
Absolutely. Thing is that obviously if you got patent, obviously you got it. It's an official document, and you can use, and it is easy to demonstrate. After that, if you don't have this kind of utility models of patents, you got another kind of documentation that you also can provide. And if you've done the things correctly, you have all the time like well closed in terms of protection, the industrial secrets of the company. So and so overall, have you made your technology that it's by its nature, it's difficult to how to say to reveal secrets from the others, because maybe some part of
Mhm.
the team has been working in a part of the solution,
Mhm.
another team is another part in another part, maybe this part doesn't know specifically what's inside of
Mm.
this another department. So the structure of your organization and how you've been dealing with the secrets protection is a key feature for your
Mhm.
IP demonstration for investors. Obviously, if you have
Uh-huh.
more commercial activity, your get your brand protected is so important. And for sure, maybe we've not been so hard in commercial activity. We've been more in technology development, but for sure, also we have our brand protected, and it's something we're going to
Mhm.
recommend to anyone. Yeah.
Mhm. Um, yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned this sort of like internal knowledge between departments, because I guess that's how it works, no? With trade secrets, like
Mm.
you have to make sure that someone is not going to be able to leave
Yeah.
the company and then replicate the product on their own. So I'm afraid we are reaching the end of the interview, and I have one final question for you.
Mhm.
So, looking ahead, what's next for Hechiceria?
For us, we've been reaching the MVP this year. In fact, we were launching first October, last first October, like a beta version of this text to 3D video AI generation.
Mm-hmm.
And the next steps in 2026 is to get commercial this technology. This the technology we've been developing for years. Obviously, we got another products now commercially, in we're pushing a lot this last quarter of 2025 with this, but this next 2026 is going to be for this commercial exploitation of this technology that's been a lot of time of development, and absolutely our next investment round for the
Mm-hmm.
next
Wow.
stage. We're in Series A, and we are dealing with investors. Not a lot here in Spain or Europe, because our round is a little bit um, big for this territory,
Mm-hmm.
US, for example. And this has, as we were dealing in this conversation, this has like some topics obviously related to IP. We need to demonstrate to the investors
Mm-hmm.
that our technology is well protected,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not through a
Right.
patent, because you maybe don't need patents. There's something so common in this kind of topics, but through another kind of data and IP protection. If you have
Mm-hmm.
everything was set, you can deal with it, and you can succeed with your investment round.
Nice. So, well, I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much, Alvaro, for sharing this time with me. And we will be watching out for, like any outcomes and innovation from Hechiceria.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to IP Stories by 4IP Council. Visit our website on 4ipcouncil.eu to find out more and check out the links mentioned during this episode. If you liked it, remember to share and subscribe.